Hello everyone, Neo Rashi here. Um, as I said yesterday, I'm going to make another tier list. This time it's about an anime, so this is probably one of the first time I talk about anime, except when I talk about series I actually own in Blu-rays. Because this is about a series I do not own in Blu-rays yet, but I'm gonna try to get the Blu-ray that was recently announced on Crunchyroll. And that series is A Place Further Than the Universe, which is currently my third favorite series of all times. It would have been second if the manga was at least as good as the anime, because the manga was good, but uh, definitely nowhere near as good as uh, well, the anime. Uh, this is something that's the reason why Biyori, which is my second favorite series of all time, is my second favorite series of all time, because it actually has a pretty solid manga and an amazing anime for people who like Yashikes. So, um, because I love this series so much, there is no episode I dislike. So yesterday with the laid back camp stuff, I said there would be um, there would be uh, three books of each tier except S, which would have only two. This time, actually, I think I'm gonna. There's not gonna be any D tier. I love the series that much, so there's gonna be uh, this time there's gonna be four S tiers and three for each of the other three tiers. Because yes, I love that series that much. Actually, I should have done the same thing for Laid Back Camp yesterday, but now it's too late. So I took the screenshot of the episode title of each of the 13 episodes, except episode 13, which doesn't have one. So I just took a screenshot from early in the episode, which is right here. So I'm gonna try to do it as spoiler free as possible. I may mention a couple events, but yeah, I'm gonna try to be as spoiler free as possible. So I apologize in advance if I spoil you anything, but anyway. So I'm gonna do it with order of episode. So let's start with episode 1, which again, like the other 12, is really good. It does a good job of introducing us to both Kimari and Shirase. But I don't think it's all that great, all things considered. Mostly because, yes, it does introduce us to the project of going to Antarctica, but beside that, I don't think it really does much. So for now, I'm gonna put it in B tier, but I may actually drop it to C tier. Now I just have to remove a tab because it's getting laggy on my hand. I actually forgot to remove the Crunchyroll tab, and I had two YouTube tabs, so it was like Chrome was laggy on my hand. Now episode 2, I think episode 2 is iconic for the infamous running scene. I don't know a single person who liked this series who never mentioned the running scene. It's definitely the scene that really puts the whole thing in motion, even though at this point Yuzuki hasn't been properly introduced. I think we see her briefly, but she's not introduced until episode 3. But yeah, so episode 2 is really iconic. It's definitely one of the better episodes. It also makes a good job of introducing us to Hinata, which is, I was gonna say one of my favorite characters, but really in this series, I love all 4 characters just equally. So I don't have a favorite main character for this series. So episode 2 is an easy S tier, and I think a lot of people will agree with me on this one. Now, episode 3 does, well, I'm gonna be honest, I liked it, and I like how uh, Yuzuki was introduced, but I don't think her introduction was as great as the other. Episode 3 is definitely one of the weaker one, even though it's like the one episode where finally we have the whole team. So I'm gonna put it in, for now, in C tier. Still love it. Even C tier episodes are great. I just don't like it as much. Um, Episode 4 was alright. I like the kind of field trip the character go, and the scene where Kimari learns that her mother know about her project to go to Antarctica is one of the most hilarious moments in the series. So I'm gonna put it in A tier. Not the best, but they are definitely a pretty solid moment. Now, episode 5 was great. I liked how I liked the ending, to be honest. It was definitely something that at first, the first time I watched the series, it surprised me. But when I watched the series a second time, I understand so much more of things that happens in episode 1 and 4. It's one of those things that you don't get the hint the first time, but when you watch this specific episode, you do get the hint, which makes this one really good. However, the rest of the episode wasn't all that great. The second half of the episode was awesome. The first half was standard, I guess, because it begins the last few days before the girls leave Japan to head towards Antarctica. So I'm gonna put it in B tier, but like top of B tier. Now, episode 6 is another great episode. It's the episode where the character go to Singapore for a couple days. One of the better episodes, not the best. So I don't think it's deserving of being S tier, sorry, but it is deserving of being A tier. Probably above episode 4, to be honest. I'd say overall, like I love the journey part, the journey arc of the series, which is basically episode 6 to 9, and 6 is definitely a great episode for that. Episode 7 was also pretty solid. I liked it. Not my favorite though, but I did like to see the character prepare for the journey on the ship. So, gonna check what episodes I have left. Honestly, I think I'm gonna put it in top of B tier. It's definitely not the best episode. It's probably one of the weaker episodes of the arc I just said I loved. Now, I'm gonna say right away, I'm a child. I love childish things in anime, childish jokes. And that's why episode 8 goes straight to S tier. The overall episode is great. Even if it wasn't for the childish thing I'm going to mention, I would probably put it in S tier anyway. The ship travel part of episode 8 is amazing. The ending was great. And what makes me a child is that I actually like the vomit and toilet jokes. That's in the middle of the episode. As I said, I'm a child. I don't know why, but I still laugh at that kind of jokes. Maybe not in like live action stuff, but in video games and animes, vomit and toilet jokes for some reason makes me laugh. Now, episode 9 was the last of the journey part, and it's definitely a great one. I think I'm gonna put it in bottom of A tier. Definitely good, but not the best. Now, episode 10 was the episode where the girl landed in Antarctica, uh, which is which was pretty solid. I think I'm gonna put it in. No, actually, I'm gonna have to drop some stuff. So episode 1 going top of 8 C tier, and I think episode 9 I'm gonna drop it to top of B tier, because episode 10 definitely deserves to be in A tier. I love this episode. This is an episode that focuses on Yuzuki, which hadn't had much focus since her introduction episode of episode 3, so she was absent in episode 5, so that's why I thought finally she gets some spotlight. Now, episode 11. Episode 11 was one that focused on Hinata, which is another character that didn't get too much spotlight, except in even in the episode she was introduced, she didn't have much spotlight. I think the episode that she got the most spotlight on was episode 6, the Singapore episode. But episode 11 definitely goes to S tier, but like probably bottom of S tier. Next is episode 12. Anyone who watched this series know what this episode is. And if you didn't cry at the end of the episode, you're a liar. I don't ever cry, even when I watch sad stuff on animes. But episode 12 made me cry, and still almost make me cry whenever I rewatch this episode. It's another iconic episode, probably not as iconic as episode 2 was. So I'm gonna put it in S tier, but second place. Like, it's definitely, even though I like toilet jokes, episode 8 is not deserving to be like at the very top. So that's why I'm putting episode 8 in third place. Now there's episode 13, which is, oh, I forgot. I accidentally put episode 3. I wanted episode 3 to be the bottom episode. It's the least good episode. Episode 13 was great. It definitely is a good wrap up of what happened, especially after episode 12. But it wasn't, I don't know, it felt too ordinary, if we can say. I didn't feel like there was a lot of things happening. It actually felt like the first half of episode 10 and the first half of episode 10 and 11 when the characters were just doing their thing in Antarctica. So I'm gonna put it in C tier, the last spot that's left, but on the top of C tier. So there we have it. This is how I would put the 13 episode in order. So S tier, we have episode 2, episode 12, episode 8, and episode 11, sorry. In A tier, we have episode 6, episode 4, and episode 10. On B tier, we have episode 9, episode 7, and episode 5. And lastly, on C tier, which I'm gonna repeat myself, still a really good ranking, really good episodes, I mean. We have episode 13, episode 1, and episode 3. So yeah, that's it. I hope you enjoyed. Again, I don't know when I'm gonna make another one. It could be sometime this week, it could be next month, it could be next year. Because unlike my weekly review, I'm not gonna have a schedule for these. But I'm gonna try to make as many as possible because I like making these. So hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time.